Okay, it's time for the end of the year book tag. I filmed it last year. It's short and helps me think about the near-ish future because we only have 2.5 months left. It's a deceptively short amount of time for the end of the year, which, like everyone else, I wonder where time has gone, but here I am. I mean, I'm in my favorite season right now. I'm thriving in sweaters. It's chilly out. I can snuggle and read books. It's a great time. So let's get into the tag. The first question is, are there any books you started this year that you need to finish? And that's a no. I tend to not pause or park books. I have plenty of friends who do this, but my brain doesn't let me do that. If I were to do that, it probably would just be a did not finish. I have very few books. It would probably have to be a short story anthology or a collection. But as of right now, I'm up to date on all of those and I haven't started a new one. And obviously, I'm in the middle of a few books right now. You can check my Friday reads if you want to know exactly where I am at the moment you're watching this video. But otherwise, no, I have only had even one DNF this year, I think. So it's been a relatively good reading year in terms of starting and finishing things. I think the biggest project that I'm in the middle of is the fourth Malazan book. Those are always chonkers and always take a lot of brain space and planning and time. But I'm a third of the way through that, so that'll be done by the end of the year at some point. Do you have an autumnal book to transition into the end of the year? I feel like Alan from the Library of Alexandria really hates the word autumnal because I used it once and he got really annoyed with me. But I do have quite a few. I've actually been reading a lot of seasonal reads this year. You can check out my September wrap-up. I have a whole recommendation section in there of 4 what I consider very haunting books that I read last month. And then this month in my TBR I had several, so I think I just finished this morning, actually, The Changeling by Victor LaValle, which was perfect dark fairy tale spooky season read for me. It gave me the same vibes as Pan's Labyrinth, actually, even down to the gore and everything like that. A fairy tale for adults is really what The Changeling was, which is really what I want always. After I watched Pan's Labyrinth last year, I'm where can I get more of this in my life? And apparently The Changeling scratched a similar itch. I want to start Vita Nostra, which I think is a dark academia book. So that's another one I have. Ooh, I'm listening to Certain Dark Things by Silvia Moreno Garcia. This might be my favorite Silvia Moreno Garcia. I'm almost halfway through and I'm having a great time. I just really love all the characters and the setting and the world. It's just I don't know, it's scratching the paranormal urban fantasy vibes for me, which I also tend to read this time of year. So I guess those are my transitional reads. I've already been reading them. I read Summer Suns last month. I read Folklore. I read The Inheritance of Orquídea Divina. So I've been reading a bunch. And if you want more fall recommendations, I did put up a Latinx fall recommendations video. It also has other Latinx books, but there's a large portion of it that are fall recs. If you want to participate in the readathon or you just want to read books that are great for fall, that's available. So that's what I've been working on. I feel like this is my first year really reading seasonally and I'm just leaning into it. It is so fun. Should probably do that more often. Is there a new release you're still waiting for? Yes. Okay, if you're new to my channel, you probably don't actually know. But if you're not new and you don't know what book I'm about to say, I feel like this is no surprise. I am most excited for The Liar's Knot by M.A. Carrot, which is an author duo. I love The Mask of Mirrors so much. So much. Right now, my friend Kayla from Crack Into a Good Book is reading it and sending me all the thoughts, and I'm just yes. So much yes. So that's my big one. That's the one where I'm I hope it doesn't get pushed back too much because of the paper shortage. If it does, it does. I will survive. But that's the book where I'm excited to go to the bookstore on release day to pick it up, hopefully block out some time so I can just sit down and read it. I am so excited. That's my big one. That's the one that I would want to read on release date, which is very rare. I have very few books that reach that level of hype for myself. I do have ARCs for Bone Shard Emperor and Jade Legacy, so I would love to read those as well. And I did pre-order Jade Legacy so I can finish my 3 there. So I'm excited for a lot of the sequels coming out. So but The Liar's Knot's the big one, and this cover is my favorite thing. I love it so much. So yeah. So if you're new here, that's the one I'm most excited about. But to everyone else, sorry, it's so predictable, but this is this is my personality right now, that this is it. Number 4, what are 3 books you want to read before the end of the year? So, I mean, I have lots of books, obviously, so trying to pick 3 is like really hard, and I'm going to try to avoid like new releases, what I have on my fall series TBR, and stuff like that. I don't know, like, so I was thinking that there's a new Karen Lord book coming out in January, and I still have not read 2 Karen Lord books, and in December, for my Patreon, I have to read a Karen Lord book. So I think for sure I want to read The Galaxy Games, which is the sequel-ish to The Best of All Possible Worlds, because then I can at least have that read, and I can read Redemption and Indigo before reading Unraveling, maybe in January, before the new Karen Lord book comes out, and then I can have like a Karen Lord gush video and stuff like that. There's also a new short story by Karen Lord I need to track down. I think it might be going into this short story anthology that's coming out this year, which is also something I'm anticipating, but I probably won't get to read it till next year. So that'll be the first one, The Galaxy Game. I'm trying to think from like my physical TBR or like my 21 to read in 2021, things like that. I think I also want to read Temper by Nikki Drayden because I've read every other full-length novel by Nikki Drayden, and that's on my shelf. It's like right behind me. I'd really like to get to that. And I want to read Dawn by Octavia Butler, which might have already been on a different list, but like I was just staring over here at like some of my physical TBR and they just look so pretty and I really want to read them. But I have so many things I want to read, and none of these are like hard rules, just like right now in this time capsule of a moment, those are the 3 I would really like to prioritize that I haven't actively prioritized yet. And number 5, is there a book you think you could still shock you and become your favorite book of the year? I mean, The Liar's not for sure. Jade Legacy's a finale. If a finale hits the ending, that could be something really special. So for sure, Jade Legacy could blow me out of the water. Like for the most part, it's been a 4 and a 4.5 star series for me, Greenbone Sagas, which I've really enjoyed. But like, if it sticks the landing, that there are some big implications. The Galaxy Game by Karen Lord, obviously that's a favorite author. But I wonder if any of these are like surprising. I guess the most surprising would be Jade Legacy, because I'm expecting that to be a 4 and 4.5 star experience, because that's what it's been up to this point, which totally great. No issue going into a book expecting that experience for me. That's a really fun time. But it could maybe be a 5-star book that makes me revisit the whole series and make them all 5 stars. So I think, and there's also a potential, and I guess this would be a surprise because I really don't have any idea what I'll feel, is the Winnowing Flame trilogy, which I'm starting this month. So I'm going to read those 3 books, and that could become a favorite of the year. I have no clue. I want it to, but I don't know if that would like surprise me. Like, I don't know. It's hard for me to know when I'm actually being truly surprised versus I just like didn't do enough research. Typically when I'm most surprised is when I read a book for my book club, because we usually read literary, contemporary, or historical fiction, which I don't know, I actually do like more than I don't like, but I'm always surprised when I like it because it's not my genre. But yeah, I think that's my answer for that one. 6, have you already started making reading plans for next year? Vaguely, I don't know, like I'm very much like a month at a time person. So like I can make a TBR and stick to it. I don't need to mood read that much, but I don't make like TBRs like months in advance. That would probably overwhelm me. I like each month like looking at my shelves and my obligations. But there are a couple new releases next year that have me excited. Goliath by Tochi Onibuchi looks really good. The new Karen Lord book that's coming out in January. There is another Orbit book coming out next year. I don't know when, but I think it's The Sun and the Void. So I'm already starting to look ahead at new releases I want to read because I love reading new releases. Obviously, I'm going to continue with Malazan and Wheel of Time, but that's just like standard fare until I'm done with them. I do want to have a Mistborn Era 2 read along or my own reading plans because the last book of that comes out next fall to winter. So that's very exciting to me. So I want to read those and the Secrets of Mistborn. So I have like, you know, that reread plan kind of in my head. I want to reread more Jemison. Hopefully we'll have a new Jemison. Wouldn't that be exciting? I don't know if we will. It's been almost a year. And like, I know part of that was the pandemic, but she's generally prolific. So like, hoping. So I just have vague ideas. I want to make sure I read more of the books I have on my shelves. And I'm excited to do another, like, I guess 22 in 2022 or 10 books to read in 2022 video where I look through the list that I've accumulated of books I want to read that I don't own and like really prioritize a few of them, and I want to finish off my Reddit bingo and start the next year's Reddit bingo. So general plans, but not specific plans. And there are going to be some big life things next year. I don't want that to necessarily affect my reading too much. I still would like to read 1 to 2 books a week, which is my average. But if it ever went down to just 1.5 a week or 1 a week, that would be fine. I could totally get by on that. I don't really want to change my reading pace. I like reading 1 to 2 books a week. I think that's really nice for me. I just enjoy that. It's a sense of productivity I enjoy. So even as I go through these big life changes of finishing grad school, getting the next job, moving, planning future things, like, I don't necessarily want reading to take a back seat, but I'm also not going to be doing huge reading plans of this is the year I read 200 books, because I don't think I'll ever be that person unless, I just don't. I don't want to spend that much more time, because if I spend more than 1 to 2 books a week time reading, unless the books are like favorites of all time, I get a little burnt out. So I think those are my only reading plans. This is kind of a staple tag video, so I don't want to tag anyone specifically, but if like you're new to BookTube and don't know how tag videos work, I tag you. Go ahead, just do this video. It's super fun. But otherwise, if you've done this video already or plan to do it soon, let me know so I can have it on my radar. I love watching these. I love watching people plan. I love watching TBRs and things like that for that reason. I don't know, it's the planner in me. It gets me in the mood to plan, and it's super fun. But yeah, I can't believe it's fall, but it's lovely. I love fall. I'm very basic. I think something, when it becomes cheesy or basic, it's because it is good, right? Like, enough people like it, right? If you made it this far, though, and want to leave an emoji, I don't know. Leave a mask for the Liar's Knot. I feel like that's good, because it is my most anticipated thing of this season. If I read nothing else for the rest of the year, I'm excited to read The Liar's Knot. Like, so pumped. Let me know what your most anticipated book is for the rest of the year. It could be a backlist. It could be one coming up. What are you most excited to read? Because I know for me, sometimes around the holidays, I get really pumped for a reread, or like reading like a fantasy romance or something very cozy. So let me know that in the comments, and like if you liked it. Subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.